Lord, how can we, who died to sin, still live in it? That's what Paul's question is. He says that grace has overcome, the grace of God has overcome sin. Sin came in through Adam. Righteousness came in through Christ. We've said many times the last couple of weeks that we don't just always walk around feeling righteous and holy, but maybe as we continue to study God's word, we ought to. Because God's word is reminding us that righteousness comes through Christ, not through me, not through us, not through our actions or our deeds. It comes from what Christ did in overcoming sin. And the question now is, how do we respond to that? There is a response that's necessary. If you want somebody to respond to an email, you put in bold in the subject line, reply, response, requested, required, needed, something to that effect. You got to let the person know that a response is needed. And it's been studied that when people put that in their email subject line, I need a response to this email. Number one, they actually read it. And number two, they respond. Paul's asking us this morning, how are we going to respond? Christ died, and his death overcame our nature of sin. What do we say to that? How do we respond to that? What shall we say? Are we to continue in sin? Are we to continue to live lives of sin so that grace so we can get more grace, so that grace can abound? You understand here he's talking about lifestyle of sin. On everybody's resume, I think they've taken us off in the last couple of years, but when I was sending out resumes years and years ago, there was a standard line on your resume to say, references available upon request. I think in our modern times we've taken that off because it's kind of known, it's understood that if you want references, you ask for them. Well, if you were to get some references today, I can send you some references that will attest to the fact that even though I'm a very, very nice guy, I can sin. References are available. We know we have reference points that would attest to the fact that we can sin. But as followers of Christ, we don't have to sin. It is a choice that we make. And I know that's a big struggle in our modern churches today. But if you take apart the word, it says that the sin of Adam is not like the free gift of salvation. The results are not the same. And he goes on to say, well, what's our response going to be? How are we going to continue in sin? How can we who died to sin still live in it? And I believe there's a question in that question. Because the question is, how can we be dead to something and alive to that same thing at the same time? But the other question that we must ask ourselves, have I died to sin?